this right here is a pretty cruddy solution, and it's also a cruddy solution for line 1 of your Bourne shell script. So, I mean, we could try to do line 2, 3, 4. You get the point. Your salesman, your car salesman guy with his "that was easy" Perl script. It's going to get really large fast. So some argue Condor has gotten too large, which is a possibility. But we prefer to think of Condor as full-featured as opposed to too large. So, Condor worries about all this kind of stuff, so in theory you don't have to. And some of these we'll talk about. So in the introduction it was mentioned that Condor can manage dedicated resources. And on our campus right now, I would say probably about half of the machines that Condor is managing are dedicated. In other words, they're sitting in racks and data centers, and their whole purpose in life is to run Condor jobs. But it can also run non-dedicated machines. So by non-dedicated, I mean the machine has a role in life other than just running Condor jobs. So this tends to be most of the machines in the Do-It Info Labs are running Condor. All the CAE machines run Condor. All the computer science machines run Condor. And so the idea is when nobody else is using those machines, Condor can swoop in like the scavenger it is and scavenge those CPU cycles and use them. Who uses Condor? Well, there's a lot of commercial users and a lot of big research users. How do you get it? Well, it's installed a lot of places at UW already, but you just download it from our site. It's available it's open source, it's Apache licensed, so you could download it, you could hack on it, you could send us patches. It's available for most Unixes and Mac OS and Windows. So you can download it, or you can grab it via package management. So I don't know if you use like Fedora, you can just do, yum install, right? Do I have my package manager right for Fedora? Okay. So it's packaged in Fedora. It's the latest Ubuntu has it packaged, so you can do, Ubuntu, the aptitude or apt, right? You could grab it that way. It's in the process of being packaged decently for RHEL and an RPM. You can use Red Hat MRG, which is a flavor of Red Hat Unix from Red Hat. MRG stands for, what does it stand for? I should know this. Messaging, Real-Time, and Grid, MRG. And the grid part is Condor, so you can do it that way. So let's pretend that Frida is a scientist with a big problem. Maybe she's a grad student here, and she has some program. And let's say this program reads some input file, does some thinking, and writes an output file. And it has for now, let's say it has moderate or minimal data needs and CPU needs. So let's say her program takes 6 hours to run on our laptop, and just a couple hundred megs of RAM, a few megs of I/O. But she's bummed because it takes 6 hours, and she has 600 simulations to run, and she needs her. She procrastinated because it was nice outside, like it is today, and she needs these by tomorrow. So while she was procrastinating, someone mentions Condor. Have you given it a try? Sure, why not? It's free. We talked about where you get it from. A minor point on Condor releases, for those of you that are thinking of installing it, just like the Linux kernel used to be back in the good old days, before everything is 2.6 point something, there's a development series and a stable series. And if the second number is even, it's the stable series. And I think CAE, for instance, only runs stable series. So Frida downloads Condor, installs it, just runs the installer on her machine. And now she has a personal Condor, or a Condor pool of exactly one machine with just her machine. And my PowerPoint animation abilities are limited. But let's say that this is Frida's machine. She installed Condor on it, and now she can submit her 600 Condor jobs, and lo and behold, Condor will start running them probably one at a time. Let's pretend she doesn't have a multi-core CPU. By default, Condor will look at how many cores you have and run that many jobs simultaneously, but Frida's machine is kind of old. This is pretty exciting. Why? What's the point of this? I had one person, when I showed that slide, say, this is not supercomputing, this is stupid computing. Oh, I didn't think it's so stupid. But so what's the advantage of a personal Condor pool of one? Condor will manage your jobs, those 600 jobs. You can implement a policy on the execution order of those jobs. Maybe some jobs are more important. She wants to see the output from those first before the others. Keep a log of activities. Condor can add fault tolerance to your jobs. Okay, so what happens if your machine crashes? Condor will remember which job it left off on. Even, and we'll talk in a bit, what if your machine crashes in the middle of a run, 5 hours and 55 minutes into a 6-hour run? When it comes back up, Condor can restart your program from where it left off by doing transparent checkpointing. So Condor can do quite a bit of stuff, even on a pool of one machine. So a job is your program. We all know what a machine is. Matchmaking is the technology in Condor that does the magic of figuring out, here's a bunch of machines, here's a bunch of jobs, let's match them together. And jobs simply state their requirements and preferences. So a job might say, I need a machine that looks like this, I need a software license for whatever, ANSYS, and I want a machine hopefully in my own department because I don't know why. Machines in Condor can also have policies and preferences. And this is a little unique to a lot of schedulers. Most schedulers only worry about what people submitting jobs want, and they don't think about what machines want because, they're machines. They're here to do our bidding. But Condor worries about what machines want because, A, the machine might not be dedicated to running Condor jobs. It might have something more important to do, like listen to the person sitting in front of it typing on the keyboard, right? Or maybe the machine was, purchased for a special purpose. This happens a lot, especially in universities, right? I bought this machine with my research dollars, and sure, you can use it, but only when I'm not, this kind of thing, right? So Condor has this magic of matchmaking, where it matches machines and jobs together based on their mutual requirements and preferences. So to submit a job to Condor, there's a few steps. The first thing is you choose a universe. You make your job batch ready. You make a submit description file, and you just run Condor submit. Now, I'm going to talk here about the command line tools because they're easy to display in a slide and people grok them quickly. There's APIs to Condor if you prefer to hide Condor behind the scenes with an application and you use an API interface to Condor, you can do that. People have written lots of web portals, as well. So APIs that exist for Condor include a web service API. Anybody here know about or care about web services? SOAP and all that stuff? Not really? Okay. Well, that's how it works. Yeah.
Question just about what you presented a second ago. Will Condor do automatic job migration if I start using my own machine and there's a job running on it?
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. But yes, right. So Condor, was running your jobs out on a machine. Each machine can decide when to kick that job off. Right. Each machine can have its own policy. Now, in practice, CAE probably has the same policy on hundreds of machines, but that's probably very different from the policy at computer science, which is very different from the policies at other institutions, right? But when Condor decides to kick your job off, it can either flat out kill it, or it could take a snapshot of the process state of everything that's running, or, as we'll learn in a bit, it can take a snapshot of the entire machine, assuming that your job is a virtual machine image, which Condor also supports. And then when it reschedules your job somewhere else, your job can continue where it left off. So first you choose a universe for your job. Vanilla and standard. I did not make these names. right? You know, what's the difference between vanilla and standard? Vanilla tastes better. You know, I don't really know. But these are essentially